I recently watched Your Lie in April, and as soon as I watched it, I knew I had to make a video on it. There are so many themes and things to talk about when it comes down to Your Lie in April, from the characters all the way to existentialism. And I could talk about all of these, but for now, I won't. For now, I'll talk about something that struck the chord with me personally the most. The idea of being haunted by your past. Arima Kosei is the main character of the story alongside Kaori, and he is the one displaying this idea of being haunted by your past the most. But he's not the only one. I love how this show presents how there are many ways our past could haunt us. Aside from Kosei, we have someone like Seto, who is putting all the blame on herself. She's being haunted by the fact that she's the one who told Saki, Arima's mom, to teach Arima to play the piano. The piano which later on hurt him. But what she didn't think about was how at the end of the day, Arima was really good at the piano, and it was something that he found himself in. And also, his mother would have probably noticed anyway at some point, but that didn't matter. Her actions led to a chain reaction that hurt him. In most cases, when it comes down to this, people have tunnel vision. When something bad happens to someone, you always try to put the guilt on yourself. Maybe not to help that person, maybe not find the answer. Maybe not to even make that person look better in your eyes. But it could be all of them, and many more. It is just human nature to feel that way, and everyone has their own reasons to do so. Those reasons may not be obvious, and they can especially be incorrect, but everyone has that somewhere deep inside of them. And one of the only ways to battle this is a trigger pulled by someone else. In Arima's case, that trigger was pulled by Kaori. In Seto's case, that trigger was pulled by Arima himself. And in your case, it might have been your friends or family helping you out. In some cases, it might have been people from the group in which you were trying to fit in and you tried really hard, but they still didn't give a shit. And that in turn made you not give a shit. It made you move on from that shithole when you said that you didn't give a flying shit about any of it and that you are who you are now. What I was trying to say here was that a trigger can be anything ranging from love to hatred, and it comes in different shapes, sizes and forms. But in the end, the trigger is always someone else. If you are trying to get through something on your own, it is one of the most self-destructive things out there. Thinking back to Arima's case here, he was trying to deal with it on his own. He was just trying to shove everything aside and make it disappear. In his eyes, he was what killed his mother. At the end of the day, his last words to her was that he was wishing she would die. Him not being able to hear what he was playing was his punishment at the end of the day. And there was nothing he could have done about it, but to continue living. Not even to accept it, just ignore it and continue. As Tsubaki says at the beginning of the first episode, Arima has lost the sparkle in his eyes. He has no will to continue. He is living only for the sake of living. Problems are something that cannot be ignored. Problems are something that you should face head on, because if you just try to ignore it, it's gonna chip away at you and not allow you to live normally. But when problems get big, it's hard. I know it's hard to face something head on. When you are gearless, you have nothing to say about it. You have no plan or strategy on how to face it. You know you are going to be crushed under it, so what's the point anyway? It's much easier to show it aside when all you are going to feel is sorrow anyway. At that point, the best you can do is embrace it. Embrace that shitty feeling you can do nothing about. Go up to it and say yes. Yes, you are part of me now. Use that sorrow to help you make the most beautiful musical performance. Use that anger to smash a goal in from distance. Use all of those emotions and make a video or a song. There is something you can do with every feeling out there. The biggest thing is where you are gonna accept it or ignore it. Trust me, I know that it isn't easy. I've struggled with myself for years, trying to shove it aside and pretend it never existed. But that's not the way to go about it. Your Lie in April does something like this perfectly, with Arima's character becoming someone people look up to once again by accepting his feelings and not allowing his past to get in the way of his future. Quite on the contrary, actually. He used his past to propel himself forward, and even at the end of the show, he learned how to accept those feelings even though it was hard once again. His past was repeating in front of his eyes. Someone he cares about the most, someone who is his sole reason for playing, has died once again, but this time he realized something important. That person wasn't the only one he cared about. He still had Tsubaki, Watari, Nagi, Seto, his rivals and even more. Once he realized he isn't alone and that one person isn't the only one beside him, he knew he could move forward, but this only came from experience. Because he dealt with the same thing before. He realized that he isn't the same person as he once was. He went from being the human metronome to being one of the most emotional pianists out there. He went from not even noticing other amazing musicians around him to being atraced by their music. He went from dealing with everything on his own to somewhat relying on other people. He has changed. I guess what I'm trying to say here is that your past isn't something that defines who you are today. It rather makes who you are today. Your past isn't something that should be ignored, but rather something you should strive to learn from. And once again, something that you should embrace. All those stupid mistakes you made in the past are now something that you learned from. Those stupid mistakes are a part of you, and you should say proudly to yourself that yes, you have made some shit decisions in the past, but you learned from them and you became a better person because of them. Because you are who you are now because of them. And thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. This is not something I usually make, but I love to do so every now and then when I get inspiration. If you guys want more content around Your Lie in April, go check out a video by my good friend Pokesel. The link to the video should be on the end screen right now, as well as the top of the description. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to click a like, maybe even subscribe. If you have something to add, feel free to put it in the comments. And that's about it. Trigger off.